A skyscraper full of servers just got shot down in downtown Kansas City. 475 residents wrote in against it, and not a single one wrote in support. From a historic first in Albany to arrests at small town meetings. The fight over America's data centers has stopped being polite. Here's what's driving the backlash. And the staggering money still pouring in anyway. We start in Kansas City, where a plan to stack a data center 38 stories high over a historic downtown building has collapsed. This week, the City Plan Commission voted 6-0 to deny Miami developer Revitalization Unlimited's proposal for the Quality Hill neighborhood. The numbers tell the story. 475 letters landed in opposition, and exactly 0 arrived in support. Commissioners questioned why a power-hungry server tower belonged on prime downtown land, and doubted it would bring meaningful jobs or benefit to the city. Developers argued the height made efficient use of a tight footprint, but the room wasn't buying it. Residents who packed the hearing celebrated the vote, though some backers have already vowed to keep fighting for a downtown data center. That local resistance is now hardening into state law. In New York, both houses of the legislature have passed the Responsible Data Center Development Act. The Senate approving it 44-16. The Assembly 102-39. If Governor Kathy Hochul signs it, New York becomes the first state in the nation to enact a statewide moratorium on large data center permits, pausing new approvals for a full year while regulators study the impact on power, water, and rates. Sponsor State Senator Kristen Gonzalez calls it a chance to slow down and get the rules right before the build-out locks in. It's part of a stunning wave. More than 300 data center bills filed across 30 states this year alone, as lawmakers shift from handing out incentives to writing restrictions. But the conflict isn't only playing out in capitals and courtrooms. And that fight is increasingly ending in handcuffs. A new tally finds at least 37 people have been arrested in 2026 for protesting data centers, most of them peaceful. Most cited for breaking what critics call petty procedural rules. Among them, an Oklahoma farmer detained for running a few seconds over his allotted speaking time at a town hall, and a Kansas physics teacher dragged out of a meeting simply for clapping after a speaker opposed a project. Organizers say the movement defies easy labels, spanning landowning farmers and suburban parents, boomers and Gen Z. In Nye County, Nevada, hundreds packed an early August hearing. When a proposed ban stalled, commissioners moved toward letting residents decide the question directly at a special election. The reason developers keep pushing this hard comes down to sheer scale. Consider what's being built. OpenAI has unveiled Project Camellia, a 3.2 gigawatt AI campus rising in Effingham County, Georgia, just outside Rincon and about 25 miles from Savannah. The company pledges at least $20 billion in private investment across 4 buildings on roughly 100 acres, with power arriving in phases between 2028 and 2032. Trying to head off the backlash we've been tracking, OpenAI promises Georgia families won't subsidize the project, commits $80 million in community benefits for schools and public safety, and says a closed-loop cooling system will keep water use minimal. County leaders say it could bring 1,000 permanent jobs and rank among the largest economic development deals in coastal Georgia history. It sits inside OpenAI's broader Stargate program, but all that computing power has to come from somewhere. That demand is testing the electric grid like never before. In May, the North American Electric Reliability Corporation issued a rare Level 3 alert, warning that massive data center loads suddenly disconnecting could destabilize the system, and ordering utilities to implement fixes targeted for this month. The financial pain is already landing on households. In Virginia, the epicenter of the boom, electricity generation costs could climb as much as 57%, and grid operator PJM says typical bills are ticking up across its territory. National data center demand is set to reach roughly 76 gigawatts this year for computing and cooling alone. Regulators and consumer advocates are increasingly asking the same question. Why should ordinary ratepayers foot the bill for infrastructure built to serve a handful of trillion-dollar tech companies? The pressure on the grid is only half the story. Water tells the other half. Because these facilities don't just drink electricity, they drink water. A new analysis finds that 2/3 of the 809 data centers planned across the United States are slated for land that has been gripped by drought over the past year, including water-stressed corners of Virginia and Georgia. In the Phoenix area alone, nearly 60 facilities are projected to demand around 177 million gallons of water every single day. Meanwhile, the federal government has finalized cuts requiring California, Arizona, and Nevada to slash their Colorado River usage by 16 to 20% through 2028, a plan that, critics point out, never even mentions the surging thirst of data centers. For communities already rationing, the math is starting to feel impossible. Yet despite the strain on power and water, construction is pressing forward. Nowhere is that clearer than in rural Utah. In Millard County, developer Hochul Capital Partners has broken ground on a sprawling energy and data center campus spanning 4,000 acres. A project backers say could become one of the most advanced AI facilities in the nation. The county commission approved the development at an August meeting, and Hochul is taking an unusual approach to the grid concerns rippling across the country. Rather than lean on local utilities, the company plans to generate its own power on site. Developers tout the high elevation for optimal cooling efficiency and promise high-paying jobs and economic growth for a rural region hungry for investment. Power is expected to start flowing as early as this year, positioning central Utah as an unlikely new frontier in the AI infrastructure race. And the money behind this construction is almost hard to comprehend. Which brings us to the capital fueling all of it, in one of the largest infrastructure deals ever struck in the sector. A consortium led by BlackRock's Global Infrastructure Partners, the UAE-based firm MGX, and the Artificial Intelligence Infrastructure Partnership has closed its acquisition of data center developer Aligned Data Centers, a transaction valued at roughly $40 billion. It's a signal that the world's largest investors see data centers not as a passing boom, but as the backbone of the next economy. Deal activity has surged to a 5-year high, and with commitments like this stacking up alongside OpenAI's Stargate and Meta's multi-gigawatt superclusters, the total capital chasing AI infrastructure is racing toward levels that would have seemed fantastical just a year ago. From a shot-down tower in Kansas City to a $40 billion deal, the build-out is not slowing down, and the question of who pays is only getting louder. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment. It helps us cover more of these stories.